Hey there guys, so looking through the Facebook groups I saw something that looked like this, one of these designs, and I thought it was super cool. Just a little gnome face with a big nose, beard, and a hat, and kind of, you know, any variation of hats. And I started making them, and then I realized that I was going to make way too many, and honestly the thing that was kind of holding me back was the drawing. So I decided to make a stencil, and it looks like this, and it goes on a piece of wood right here. Now I could just trace it out and get to carving. I left out the hat because, well, each hat's gonna have its own character, you know, be a little bit different. So I'll give you the dimensions for this right here. This piece is 1 3/4 of an inch, and I use a 3.5 inch tall piece. It could be 3 inches tall, whatever it is that you want to do. That's why I left the hat off of this, so that you can make it as tall as you want. But if you do a 3 inch tall block, just know that it'll be like around right here. And the thickness of this piece of wood is about 3/8 of an inch. So maybe a little bit more. And I think these are so cool because they have a great canvas on the front. They're very low effort, very low energy, I think. I probably crank out 2 or 3 of these in an evening. And then on the back, you can make your own little design. So this guy has a Christmas tree. Let's see, I think this guy has a mushroom on it. Yeah, very cool canvas. Let me show you how it is that I make these guys, and hopefully you guys can get started making your own. So in this video I'm filming using this size. This is a 1 3/4 of an inch, but the stencil is also available in 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch. So I wanted one in between these two because I kind of like this ratio, this proportion. Okay, so this stencil has a lip down here, and all you do is set it onto your piece of wood right here and just kind of start tracing away all the sections that you can see. Right here. And in reality you don't need a stencil, but if you're going to start making maybe a dozen of these, or you know, any number of them, you're probably going to start to want something that you can replicate pretty easily. So there it is, super quick. And of course the hat, well, probably going to do something like this, like that, probably more like this. So I'm going to go up, you know, stencils are nice, but hey, you still need to have some stake in the creative process over here. So yeah, let's do that right here and give him a ball. You might think, gosh, that's a really thin piece of wood. Well, actually 3/8 of an inch is a fair amount of material for you to be able to carve this guy. And then of course, if you don't like the nose being so big, you can always change the size a little bit, you know. But it's kind of nice to already have those things sketched out for you. And yeah, I think we'll go with the smaller nose for this one, since we have some of the larger ones. And you can see I have a small one right here. You know, kind of whatever floats your boat, whatever you're feeling. Alright, so to start on this guy, I usually like to start with the hat. So I'll take it down like this. I'm just going to take it down to that line. Oh, this is going to rip out a big chunk. For some reason that grain is not cooperating today. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's close enough, I think, to the line. And we're going to round that over anyway. Okay, let's do the other side. I'll say the one challenge with this is that it's kind of too small to really grip adequately. So I have a little bit of trouble, but it doesn't slip so much that I can't hold on to it. That's looking pretty good. Alright, so now for the rest of this, we're going to switch over to the V tool. So this section right here. So depends on whether you want the brim that exact size, whether you want it larger or not. So you can either trace on the line or trace outside of the line. So I'm going to keep to these proportions, so I'm going to go ahead and trace right directly on the line. So this is just a regular V tool. And I'm going to do that bottom part of the brim. And if you don't want a brim on your hat, just don't carve a brim. But I was finding that this was actually one of the harder parts of drawing this, was getting that nose centered on this design. So definitely happy that I have a stencil for it now. Anyway, now I'm going to do the nose as well. And the nose, I'm going to do it on the outside of this line that I just kind of half-heartedly drew. Okay, do the brim as well. The brim, I'm going to stay on the outside of it just a little bit. Okay, and then the only other thing to kind of outline here are the shoes. Let's see. So you gotta get a little creative with how you're holding this piece. Alright. Oh, that's good. Okay, so now we're just gonna score all this with our knife. So just come in. Careful right there that the knife doesn't slip on you. Okay, and then the same thing on all the rest of these other lines. Alright, now I'm going to shape this beard just a little bit. Right here, undercut it to get that beard in there. And I'm going to do the hat as well, right here. So I want the hat to kind of, I want the brim to be the fattest part of the hat. Okay. Nice. Alright, now let's do the nose as well. Okay, that's good right there. Cool. Alright, so now I'm going to switch over to my gouge. So I'm using a number 7 3/8 of an inch. And yeah, so this is a pretty useful tool for doing this part right here. But just kind of undercutting all this stuff. You could do it with a knife, but I find that it's a little tricky to do that consistently. Okay. that with the shoes as well. And that's why it's important to score this stuff really deep with your knife. Okay. Let's switch back over to the knife. It's a little breezy today, isn't it? Right. Okay. Alright, let me show you how I would have done it with a knife. So if you score it deep enough, you can just use the tip of your knife and run it like this. But watch out at the very end, because the knife will just kind of slip out on you if you're using too much pressure. Okay, and for the opposite side, kind of use the pulling as opposed to pushing. Okay. Alright, let's also start to form this section right here, this kind of turnover, like that, all the way down past the ball, making sure it doesn't slip. Okay, now all I'm going to do is take that sliver right out. Okay, and let's see if you can tell, but the section that comes over is usually way behind the main body of the hat. So we're going to kind of shave that down a little bit. Okay, but first we have to delineate where the ball and that section of the hat meet right here. Then we can start to shape that. You see? Kind of draw it back now. Okay, and now round out this piece a little bit so it can start to take some shape. So I had to change direction there because the grain started to split on me. So you really got to pay attention to what the wood is trying to do as you're working it. Okay, so let's see how that's doing. That's looking pretty good. Right here. I'll probably bring it back just a little bit more too. that's looking pretty good for the ball and the hat. Alright, now let's smooth this out just a little bit more. Take this section right here. I'm going to give a little bit more texture to the hat too, so we'll come back to that. And this carving is mostly all hat. Beard and hat. That's all it is. It's super easy, but, you know, just a little bit of work. I love this carving because really it's not that much work, so you can really experiment with different painting techniques that you wouldn't otherwise want to test if you had a really complicated carving, such as a Santa that takes you 2 or 3 hours to carve, or something that takes you multiple weeks. So, and if it turns out nice, well, shucks, then you can sell these. So, yeah. And who doesn't like a gnome? Alright, so let's work back on this section right here. Okay. And this beard. So, believe it or not, this beard is over halfway done. It's just cleaning up the fuzzies and those gouge marks. So I can come back with the number 7 and clean this all up. But just kind of showing you how it's done with the knife. Okay. Kind of round it over a little bit. Let's give those feet a little bit more depth. Okay, let's go to the nose, round it over a little bit, and tuck it underneath that brim. So right here, go up. Turn it the other way because the grain is going the opposite direction. There you go, like that. Remember, always want to carve downhill. Sometimes you can get away with carving uphill, but usually not the case. Okay, now I want to round over this brim just a little bit, because right now it still has the original lines from the V-tool. It has the original surface on there from the way that the wood was processed or cut. Okay. Let's round that over just a little bit more. Alright. Let's clean this up. I'm going to separate these feet just a little bit more. So just with my V-tool, come in there and separate them. And I'm going to deepen this section right here, just a little bit. Okay, good. And try to get rid of some of these scallops. So I'm running the V-tool pretty much on those high points. Alright, I think I could live with that. Alright, so now I have two V-tools that I'm using. One is I think a 60 degree, and then the other one that I'm going to use is a 45. So with the larger one, I'm going to come in and do a couple lines. Doing this beard now. So not a whole lot of them. Nothing too crazy and not super deep either. Just a little bit at a time. And you can come back with the same tool and do the other section a little bit lighter, a little different emphasis, but I do have one of these micro 45 degree V-tools. And so all I do is pretty much fill in the gaps. The lines are a little bit shorter. Now the variation is good for this carving since it's so simple. Makes it look like a lot more is going on there. Otherwise it's just a simple block of wood. Okay, finish up the upper section of it. Okay. Let's see if there's any more that we can do. Pretty much trying to not to leave any flat spots. That's exciting. Looks like I took part of my hat over here. That's okay. Alright, I'm going to round out this ball just a little bit more. Alright, look at that. That looks pretty good. Alright, so now to give it a little bit more dimension, we're going to give the hat some folds. So, what I mean by that is something like this. So, let me clean this guy up right here. Okay, let's draw in those folds. So let's see, we'll do something probably right here. How about just like that? And this guy, fold him over like that, and fold this guy over like that. Okay, so you could totally just use a V-tool and do something like this. You could totally do that and call it good. But that doesn't have very much depth to it. And the reason is because the wood on this side matches the wood on that side. So if you're looking across this cut right here, these two are the same, which is not very realistic. This, although not super realistic, looks much more impressive. And so anyway, the way we do that is essentially by doing a little tuck. So I deepen it with the knife, and then I come in and remove the material from the bottom as best I can. So it's a little hard right there because that ball is kind of in the way. And then you also shave the top to kind of make it look like it's influenced by that tuck underneath, so it's a little bit smoother. So at kind of the highest point is going to be that part of the tuck right there. Okay, like that. All right, that looks pretty good right there. Doesn't need to go all the way to the end, but that looks pretty good. Okay. Clean it up a little bit so it's not as exaggerated. Excellent. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit easier. I have more space to work with. Okay, so here I'm going to tuck it underneath by removing the wood underneath. That one's pretty easy. You see, it still doesn't look that good because it looks like this part of the hat is disjointed from here. So what we do then is take that and just roll our knife. Just roll that knife. You can see now that that's the highest part right there. We still got to clean up under here, but this top part of the hat was influenced by down here. So that makes a big difference. Okay, let's do these two sections. Careful that the knife does not slip on you. Okay, so right here, take that down. Okay, and here's less material to mess around with, but still the same principle. Okay, let's see what else we can do here. There we go. Let's see if we can clean the rest of that up. Alright. That looks pretty good. Right here. And yeah. What am I trying to do here? Alright. I would say that's just about done. Cool. Now you can always go ahead and touch up a little bit more, you know, maybe round over the ball a little bit, touch up some of the facets so it's not as square in some places, you know, but overall this carving is done. And that's cool. Yeah. So the only thing is probably round off the bottom of these feet right here. So after this I usually get a piece of block spongy sanding paper or sand block and then just kind of buff out the rest of the carving. And then on the back I'll go ahead and, well, either do a design, something like this, or I'll just take the number 7. Let me just show you what I mean. Take the number 7 and scallop the entire back. And so I started doing this because I was using the electric orbital sander to sand the back, but it makes so much noise and it takes, you know, it's kind of stored away in the shed, so I wouldn't get to it until I had like 5 or 6 carvings to do, you know, and so we'd have 5 or 6 carvings just laying around, and that means that 5 or 6 carvings can't get painted. So I decided, you know what, forget it, I'm just gonna scalp these guys, and now I could just sand them by hand with that sponge block, and then they can be painted pretty much the same day. So yeah, and that's almost done. So I really like those designs on the back. I think those are actually a pretty good challenge to draw. So in spirit of stencils, I very well may make a stencil pack for small designs like that. Really like the mushroom, the Christmas tree obviously. Thinking about doing some candy canes, maybe clover for St. Patrick's Day. Who knows? Maybe a pumpkin for Halloween. You know, these gnomes can be pretty versatile. Pretty cool gifts, I think. And they're so easy. They're so fun. Anyway. Let's do this section right here. Cool. Well, there you have it. There's our little gnome family. So, yeah, a little bit of sandpaper, and that guy is done. So I just want to demonstrate what I use to buff out all these rough edges, and this is that sanding block that I use. This is probably a 220 grit, maybe even a 320, I don't know, something really fine. And yeah, all I do is just take it to there, and I try to focus on the parts that need more smoothness, like the hat, the brim, and the nose, and I leave the beard pretty much as best I can. So this thing's really great. You can bend it, you can kind of you really work some of the parts that you want more than others. Alright, look at that. Completely different carving. Well, kind of. Anyway, I think that's a pretty nice looking carving. Alright guys, enjoy.